Have you been wondering whether you're ready to get pre approved to purchase a home or overwhelmed with what you don't know or don't know what questions to ask and not quite sure where to start, but you desire to own a home? You hope it happens one day. If that's you, or if maybe you have a friend in that situation, this video is for you. You're going to want to stick around because I want to go over the top three things that you can do a self assessment and see, is it ready to start exploring that? Are you a lot closer than what you think? And give you some tips and tricks and strategies to help get you in a better position for the future than where you are today. Let's dive into it. So, when I have to accomplish a very big goal and I'm overwhelmed and scared by it, but it's not life threatening, usually it just means that I need to simplify things for myself and break things down and reverse engineer them so that way I just know what the next step is that I need to take. And getting pre approved for a home or the idea of buying a home, it can be very overwhelming, but it doesn't need to be. So today I'm going to go over three different areas where we want to identify any gaps that you might have from where you are now to where you would ideally want to be in order to be ready to take that next step of getting pre-approved for a home loan. The three things we'll be covering today are your credit score, the monthly payment, and how much you currently have saved for your down payment and closing costs. Let's start with your credit score. So ideally, the goal would be to get to 780 or above for the middle score, because what we track are the three major bureaus' scores, and then we use the middle of that score. So we want that number to be 780 or above. If you're not there yet, don't worry. We have options for scores all the way down to 500, especially with FHA. But here's the deal. In most cases, the higher the score, the better the rate, the lower the payment. Now, if you have a 700 score, does that mean that your interest rate is so much more higher than someone at 780? Not necessarily. Sometimes it's a very marginal difference. But just to give you a target of what to aim for, 780 would be the best thing to shoot for. So how do you improve your credit score if you're not at a 780? There's different ways that you can go about doing this, but keeping it simply, you'll definitely want to track your score. So whether you're going to use Credit Karma or another credit monitoring app, you at least want to see what the score is and what you're working with to start. Now, is it accurate? Is it for a mortgage? No, and it's all debatable. It's different models. That's a whole nother video, but it gives you something to work with and it's better than nothing. So once you have the ability to actually monitor your score to see, okay, what progress is going to be happening on a month-to-month basis, from there, you just want to have the strongest positive ratings to occur with that score. So for student loans, car loans, and any other type of installment loan, meaning it has a fixed payment every single month, you just want to continue to pay those on time. For the ones that are revolving, those are things like credit cards. So whether it's a store card or a gas card or just traditional credit card, you really want to try to have your current balance be at least half of what your limit is or less. So if you have a $3,000 limit on that card, you want to keep your balance at and under 1,500 every single month right before the statement is generated or that the statement closes out. What happens during the month, it matters, but what it is important is that when the statement actually closes and that's when they actually generate the statement, that's the data that's sent to the credit bureaus and that's the data that impacts the score. So the less that you're using of the credit that you have available, that is looked at as a positive. If you're paying your student loans and your car loans and all of those things on time, but you have maxed out credit cards on the statement on the day that that information is sent to the bureaus, that can put pressure on the score and make it seem lower than what it is just based on the day that things are actually being reported. Now let's talk about the monthly payment. This is where we compare the amount of rent that you're currently paying to the amount that you would actually need to qualify for in order to get the space that you need. So you're likely currently paying to live somewhere for a certain amount of space. And you're going to want a new space, whether it's the same size, bedroom, bath count, square footage, or you need to expand or downsize. But that space is also going to cost a certain amount of money, and your budget is going to say, this is what my max comfortable payment is. So let's just say that you're currently renting and you're renting your current space for $3,000 a month. But when you look at your budget, you go, you know what? But if it's for a mortgage, because I know I'm going to have tax benefits or I have this extra that we can, not eat out as much or not go to the movies as much or whatever the case may be, say we could stretch it. And if we were owning a home, we could do $3,500 a month. Well, that automatically tells me you have $500 a month that you could save, but you're just choosing not to right now, potentially for one reason or another. One of the things that you can start doing right away that is going to put you in a better position for the future is to set up an auto pay transfer every single month at the beginning of the month when you pay your rent. So if you normally pay your rent on the 3rd of every month, you pay your rent, but you also set up an auto transfer to occur the same day to go to your savings account. So for that scenario, that difference is $500 a month. Get it out of your checking account right away when you pay it. This is going to do two things. Number one, it's going to get your household budget used to what that feels like. And then number two, it's also going to identify any wasteful spending that might be occurring and naturally help you to creatively think of different ways to save money, whether it's, oh, we'll cook more at home, or, I'm not going to get coffee so many days out of the week. I'm going to break that down to just, 1 or 2 days. I'll make coffee at home, whatever the case may be. And it will help you to see what that feels like before you actually commit to the mortgage. Because the beauty of that exercise is that if you needed to transfer the money back, you could. So it gives you a little bit of wiggle room to just start testing out what it feels like and go, is this something I can realistically do? And you may surprise yourself. You may be able to go, you know what? I like how this feels. We can make this happen. And then you can start making aggressive cuts as time goes on to increase the amount of savings that's going into your savings account. Or you may go, you know what? It's a little unrealistic. Maybe I can't do 3,500. Maybe 3,200 is going to be realistic. And maybe me wanting to, get a single family home that has a yard, maybe I need to revisit that and start with a condo instead. So it just kind of helps naturally work through the process of what's most important, what can you realistically do, but you're still making progress in the right direction of owning a home and achieving that goal. And now for that down payment and closing cost savings, or what I like to call the all-in investment. Because a lot of times people think they just need to have the down payment and then they forget about the closing cost portion. And it's crucial, especially if we're not in a market where a seller is going to be willing to help with giving a credit for closing costs. Now, many buyers will actually delay their journey of exploring getting pre-approved for a home loan because they think they need 20% down. They are being told that, they're being advised that, whether it's by their parents or grandparents or friends or family, just because they think that's what's needed. Now, is that good advice? Sure. Is it good to have more of an investment in your home than not? Sure. But it's not necessary. We do have options for low down payments all the way down to 3% and anywhere in the middle, 5, 10, 15. Anything less than 20% down does come with mortgage insurance. But mortgage insurance doesn't necessarily have to be super expensive. It's all going to depend on the credit score and the scenario and the loan amount and a lot of different things. But sometimes being in a position to purchase a home, even if you have mortgage insurance, is a better financial investment because you get to start gaining the benefit of earning equity in a home rather than waiting to build up for that savings and losing out on equity as homes are continuing to get more expensive. So there's pros and cons to both. And I think it's important to just make an informed decision. But if you are curious about exploring and going, you know what would that look like? For some folks, it's an extra $20 a month. For some, it's an extra couple $100 a month. But it's also important to have a conversation with your tax preparer because you may be able to write off that mortgage insurance payment just like you do mortgage interest and your property taxes. So it might benefit you from a tax perspective to be able to have that expense so that you can write it off, and that even helps you get into homeownership sooner. So it's not always bad. It's just pros and cons to both. And sometimes it's just taking a different route to get to the same destination. To figure out what you're going to need for your all-in investment for those down payment and closing costs will be to have the actual down payment, which is just that percentage of your purchase price. So if you're wanting to do 20%, you would take that purchase price amount, multiply that number by 20%, and that's the down payment piece. Now, for closing costs, that's going to vary depending on several factors, but a good rough estimate is 3%. When it comes to saving for your all-in investment, we don't want to think of it just as savings. We want to create momentum. And in order to create momentum, we need to have consistency and we need to be able to build upon that. So having that auto pay transfer in the beginning of the month is going to be that very next step to help with creating the habit and then being able to build on that, which is going to give you the momentum. If you can also save this in any type of savings account that will give you interest on the money that you're saving, that's going to further increase that momentum in the right direction. Let's recap. Here's how you can assess your readiness and take action on your next steps. First, with your credit score. We want to know our score. So, how are you going to track that? Do you have an app, or are you checking your monthly statements? Find the best way that works for you. And then we want to get as close as we can to 780. Even though we have options for folks that don't quite have a 780 score, and it's totally fine, we still just want something to aim for. And then from there, we want to utilize the timing in the calendar and keep track of that to make sure that your balances are at 50% or less of your limit the day before your statement closes. With your monthly payment, we want to know that difference of what it is that payment that you're aiming for the amount of space that you need, and what are you paying now? And immediately you want to start saving that difference. Once you've identified that gap, set up that auto pay and get that going every single month moving forward. And for your savings for that all-in investment of your down payment and your closing costs, you want to know the amount you need to save for. So whatever it is that your down payment is that you want to save for, add that 3% for those closing costs and get that number, write it down, put it on the wall. That's what you're saving towards. And that auto pay of the difference between your rent and your ideal comfortable max mortgage payment is going to help accelerate you hitting that goal faster. Remember, putting those funds into an account that gives you any type of interest will also help with that compounding effect. If you've taken the time to do the self-check, you're already ahead of most people who say that they plan to buy a home someday, because you're turning this dream into a decision and taking the necessary steps. Whether you're looking to buy in the next 30 days or the next 12 months, I can help with creating that plan that gets you on target to achieve that goal. The earlier we connect, the better your outcome. If you found this information helpful, I'd love it if you liked the video, subscribed, and shared it with a friend. My name is Amber Jones. I'm a certified mortgage advisor, and my goal is to help inform you, empower you, and help you solve that financial obstacle that you face on your home ownership journey. If you'd like to take the discussion further, all of my contact information is below, where you can book a 15-minute consultation with me. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.